fit the demographic for someone who's got an iPhone or mobile device and is always connected. Tell everyone, you know, how you've been using social media and all of that.
With the partnership with Novo Nordisk, we made from my side, the obvious leap to creating a Novo Nordisk Race with Insulin Twitter page. I wanted, you know, Mark talked about having the two halves, you know, the J&J half and the evil half, and I have that. I still have my personal Twitter handle that I tweet about personal things when I'm at dinner with friends or, you know, that sort of thing. And then Race with Insulin, I talk more about general diabetes, general racing with diabetes, you know, and the sort of the branded tweets, right, being a branded spokesperson. Well, that's a perfect segue because you were off sending tweets about races, and on June 18th, the healthcare marketing world changed when you sent the first pharmaceutical branded tweet, which I think we can put up on the screen. You sent this out, and a whole lot of stuff happened, which we're going to get into on the marketing side of things and with Novo Nordisk. Did you expect that tweet was going to generate anything? You just thought, well, okay, I'll send this first branded tweet, and that's it. I mean, were you anticipating that this will be the day, or you had no idea? I don't think I expected anything like the conversation that followed that. I think I actually made a comment on my personal tweet a month and a half later. I can't believe so much is written about 140 characters.
That's good.
Because I guess maybe I didn't realize it was such a paradigm shift,
right,
such a change in perspective and something so new. You know, I'm used to breaking boundaries when it comes to racing, when it comes to racing with diabetes, when it comes to stereotypes of Americans in Europe, that sort of thing. I didn't realize I'd be breaking another one with, you know, 140 characters from my iPhone.
Right, that's right. All right, well, that's a good setup. We're going to invite someone else to join the conversation here to take it to another level. We have from Novo Nordisk someone who takes credit for the other half of this infamous tweet. Early on, she was a journalist, spent some time at Johnson & Johnson before joining Novo Nordisk just over a year ago. And she leapt from relative anonymity, I think, in the healthcare marketing world to front pages and Twitter streams along the way. Please welcome Ambry Morley. Okay, did you know the day that he was going to send the first branded tweet? Like, did you guys say, all right, send it tomorrow?
No, not necessarily the day. It was just, okay, Charlie, here are the parameters for if you want to say you're taking your flex pen or your insulin. When you do it, this is kind of what it has to say. We set up the tiny URLs and made sure all of those things worked. But I don't even think I was around when he actually sent it.
Okay. So what was your first glimpse that it went out and what the reaction was to it? When did you hear about it?
We started seeing some feedback right away, and then I went on vacation, and when I was on vacation, I was at the Jersey Shore with my son and a friend of his, and I get a call from one of my agency colleagues at Biosector 2 that, okay, now, you know, people have seen the tweet, and so now we're getting some, you know, not so great feedback from it. And I think, where's John?
Yeah,
John.
Hi, John's over there.
But honestly, I work in pharma. I used to be a reporter. I was kind of like, okay, you know, you get the good with the bad, and it honestly did not faze me initially. Well, it still doesn't, because you can't, in this business, you can't try to please everybody. You can only do what you know to be right and follow the rules, and so I welcomed it.
And for those of you who don't know John, just to set the context of that a little bit, within a day of this tweet going out, the first pharmaceutical branded tweet, there were comments saying, hey, history's been made, there's the first pharmaceutical branded tweet, and this could be a model for other companies to follow. But then right on the heels of that came a post from John Mack, and John said, sleazy Twitter spam, we hope this is not the model. This is not the model to follow. And at the time, now, For those who know John, John's role in our community is to be provocative and to be an instigator. He almost called the FDA himself on Boehringer Ingelheim last week with a tweet they sent out. So did you realize that, I mean, that this is where it was coming from and in context, or just say, who's this John Mack guy and what's going on?
No, and I think the bigger thing for me is that it never bothered me that people had opinions about the tweet, but I think what bothered me more so was that people thought that it wasn't authentic and they didn't understand our relationship with Charlie, because we didn't develop the Twitter page just to do Twitter. We started our partnership with Charlie earlier in the year. As you saw in the media clip, he had been traveling the country, talking to children, just spreading the word about diabetes. So Twitter was just one part of a whole strategy built around Charlie and spreading the news about diabetes. And so that was number one. The second thing is that he was actually tweeting. But I think the most important thing to understand is that Charlie is a branded spokesperson. So the rule is, once you go branded, you really can't be unbranded anymore. Right. So for him to tweet and to talk about the products, we had to establish the appropriate protocol for him, per se. As you can see, he doesn't tweet branded all the time, but he has to have the ability to talk about the brands, because honestly, that's who he is. That's part of the contract that he has with Novo Nordisk. It's not a contract just with the company, it's with the brands at the company.
And so one of the things that when we started the Twitter was I've learned more about FDA regulations than I ever thought I needed to or wanted to. And secondly, they gave me guidelines on sort of within the pre-approved scope of what I could tweet about without going back through regulatory. And it was one of the flows in Mark's flowchart that made so much sense.
Yeah.
That, you know, I had a scope that talking about racing and general life, you know, were fair game.
Yeah.
And as far as branded tweets, I had guidelines as far as how to make those work within the FDA regulations to keep regulatory and legal happy. So they gave me the tools and let me make the tweets when it was convenient for me, where it was convenient, and how I wanted to go about that.